Feels that right?
So it's 9 o'clock. I'd like to welcome you to the Tuesday, June 18th, 2024 Eidelweiss Board of Commissioners meeting. And the first thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. And it will have a non-public session at the end of the meeting today and one tomorrow to do an employee review
Okay, so it's gonna be held tomorrow for sure,
Yep,
at
Alright.
the office.
at the office.
At what time?
10 I think
I
is
thought it
what we
was 10
said.
a.m.
This
Yeah.
says 10 a.m. on the agenda, yes. And next thing is the approval of two sets of minutes. One is from June 4th. And
Did you make a motion for the approving?
the agenda?
The agenda?
A motion to approve the agenda as written.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Approval of the minutes. I'll make a motion that we discuss the minutes of the 4th first.
Mhm.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion on that? I had one point, it's not to modify the minutes, it was, maybe I'll bring it up under administrator's report if you talk about driveways.
Mm.
We approved the driveway from 22 Hotwell. We're not using the Burn address. This is the one that the driveway runs right through two lots.
Uh-huh.
That's two driveway applications.
Yes,
according
they
to
paid for two.
And we have to.
Okay, so what is the address of the Burn? I've been using 22, and that's the 22 is the Hotwell.
The official address that everything's being filed is the Hotwell address.
The house is gonna be a
22
Hotwell
Hotwell.
address?
Yep.
Even though it's, the water hookup's gonna be on Burn, and the driveway goes to Burn, and the house is,
Uh-huh.
Okay, but I think he brought up that question right there, that he needed to update his address, official address to Burn.
he
He
wants to
did-
do that.
he
Because
wants
emergency
to do
services
that.
are gonna get confused by that, I would think.
Yes,
For his own safety, he needs to figure that out. But
Right.
that's not minutes,
okay,
sorry,
yep,
but I'd forget about it if I didn't.
gotcha.
And any other comments on the minutes of the 4th, June 4th?
No, they were good.
All in favor of approving those minutes, say aye.
Aye.
I abstained because I wasn't here.
2-0, one abstention, 2-0-1.
Yeah.
Now I'll make a motion to discuss the meeting minutes of June 11th, last week. Do we hear a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah.
I had one thing on there.
I had one thing, just a minor spelling error on page 2, bullet point 9, I think, regarding Jeff advised he is making progress to assist FEMA with the summary on culvert cleanup. FEMA will need GPS coordinates for the culvert. Culvert is spelled incorrectly in the
Okay,
second sentence.
yeah.
So add a T and good to go.
Okay, great.
I just had one note. On page 2 of 4, the bullet second from the last says, East Bergamo will have gravel put down. Mark makes a motion to purchase gravel as stockpile as needed in preparation for, Jeff says it should be in about 3 weeks. I think specifically, the motion was for 10 international 7,400 truckloads.
Okay, so how do you want that written?
Purchase up to 10 truckloads.
Okay,
And it was the VDOE 7,400 international
Okay.
truck, not a triaxle. How many did you buy so far?
I haven't gotten any.
Oh,
We used a little bit of gravel that we had
I saw
on
work
some
being done.
potholes yesterday. And I mean, I was gonna, Tony's actually digging a few of those rocks on
East
East
Bergamo.
Bergamo today. And I'll probably go back and get a few loads.
So, just that, any other notes on the minutes of the 11th?
No?
No.
All in favor of the minutes as amended?
Aye.
3-0. Now, next on the agenda, thanks. Approval of the manifest, the operation manifest of $5,070.83. Operations manifest. Now, we could, do you want to add Kevin O'Leary's into this and sign it after the fact? We'll wait till next week.
Do we know the number?
Yes.
If we know the number, then I think we should approve it today and then sign the check tomorrow when we're at the office.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So, I'm gonna dig that up for you. It's 12,000, I know it's, off the top of my head, it's 12,480.
I knew it was 12,000 something.
Even, no change?
No. $12,480. So we need to add, we have a number of $5,070.83. Two bills from Eversource, one for beaver relocation removal, one for Naomi Butterfield's municipal law group.
Well, Mike Stevens is, oh, right, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Beaver. Todd's trucking to bring the grader down to Pembroke, New Hampshire, for $775 one way, but he had a dry round trip. Brick quarry for $136.16, and Cat's bookkeeping service for $79.90. So that's $5,070.83, and we're gonna add $12,480 to that. Want to fire up your calculator there?
Let's clear that.
I have $17,550.83. 5070.83.
480 equals 17,550.83, we match,
Okay.
therefore,
So I make a motion, we approve this operating manifest modified to a grand total of $17,550.83. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
yes. The second Eversource bill for 104.52, I think it's just because I only received one page, but I only saw a total of like $75.41. The bill says page 1 of 3, but only page 1 came through on my,
Oh,
so maybe that's the reason
It
why?
is.
Okay, piece of cake.
yep.
Another one is just, what I don't understand is, never mind the Kevin O'Leary, at the bottom, we have 5070.83, but when you come down here, total dollar amount in checks, it says 2,209.38.
Well, that's physical checks. Those other ones are not they're not physical
They're
checks.
getting paid
They're
directly?
being paid directly out of the checking account. The Eversource ones,
without checks.
without checks, because they were in notice of cancellation yet again and needed to get on the books to be paid.
Okay, so,
I don't even know why that line is there. I didn't create that, I don't know.
it kind of makes sense, but let me understand, so when we pay them directly, is it, I hate to say this isn't another ACH type of payment, is it on the debit card or
No,
credit card?
it's on from the checking account. I plug in the checking account number to get paid. It's like using a debit card, but it's taken from the checking account,
Okay,
not debit.
and is that the way we're gonna continue in the future, or are we
No,
gonna
we're trying to get away from that,
Right,
yeah.
right, I'm just, all of a sudden that raises the hair on my back because of what happened to us back in March.
Right.
All right, so I know that this credit card discussion's coming up later. Okay, I understand.
So
Yeah,
do we,
it's not an automatic thing. You
Right.
have to authorize it.
Right,
It's not something that's
You
set
have-
up with
you
the
have total
bank.
control, right.
That was bank, yeah.
got it, okay.
do we have a handle on the problem that we're having with these Eversource?
No, well, not really. Things got messed up before I started. They weren't being paid. The amounts weren't being paid fully at different times. They were paid, it was kind of, so I had to straighten all that out. And then I wasn't getting bills. I kept waiting for bills to come, and I wouldn't physically get bills. And come to find out, I don't think it was, some of them was set up where we would get physical bills. So I had to straighten all that out online. And in the interim, it was, we're
Overdue.
behind again.
Yep.
Okay.
Because I didn't even recognize the format of these bills.
Yeah, it's all internet based and
Yep.
not physical
Oh, that sucks.
mailing.
Okay, so
Yeah.
basically, when you say straightened out, we're now gonna get a physical bill in the mail.
Physical bills in the mail. So that'll allow me to start writing checks.
You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but
Yeah, no,
everybody
right,
thinks the
yeah.
internet is the bee's knees, and
It is if you handled it correctly, but
On
Right.
both sides.
yeah.
Okay, so where are we?
Nancy second.
And
I had-
Woody had that comments.
and I'm good on that.
Okay.
All set on comments with this
Yep.
manifest? We're voting the $17,550.83 operating manifest.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. And I'll sign the manifest. And I've signed these checks. If you want to be distracted.
No, I gotta pay attention, otherwise everything goes over my head.
That happens to me too. Okay, so back to the
I will
agenda.
sign the checks,
Let's see.
but let me,
So now we're on the water.
The water manifest of $6,183.24.
Mhm. So again, you're gonna see Eversource.
Yep.
There's a $3,231.54
Yep,
that the water system is paying their share of the Eversource bill, and a FW Web charge, Ian Hayes signed for clamps and adapters. And do we know what job? We have no idea what this is for. I saw the three things, totals $50.75.
I believe that was that water hookup you did on Eidelweiss Drive.
Idelweiss Drive.
yep, I agree.
And a check to the village district for May expenses
Yep,
to reimburse the operating account for bills the operating account paid for the water
Yep.
system.
Right.
Yes.
$2,900.95. The
Yep.
total is $6,183.24. I'll make a motion that we approve this water manifest.
Second.
Discussion?
okay, great.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Next on the agenda is the DPW.
Everything looks good on that. So we got the paint last week, and did the white lines except for Grizzin. That had some water running across it, and there's some issues with the apron over there. So we have to do a little drainage issue there.
When you have a chance, Nancy, you've seen the entrance to Grissom off of Route 113. If we go into the transfer station, if you happen to be going by there, take a look at the pavement. Years ago, $30,000 was spent to have pavement just as Grissom enters Route 113, so you're not spinning in gravel trying to get up to speed to get out to 40 mile an hour
Right.
traffic. Sign-in was done, and there was another one, Alpenhof,
Yeah.
across from Community Market. The one at Grissom looked terrible years ago. I took pictures of it, and there was a complaint of tires being damaged. It floods out, you can't see that the pavement is
Broken.
broken and has sharp edges, and you can't protect your car. You drive through it and you find out. They couldn't even paint the white line on it, that area. Take a look at it.
Yeah.
I think we have to do something about it this year, and
It's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, she lives right over there.
the camera should not.
Yeah,
She
we
has to
think we
drive
could
through
do
it.
a little drainage at work with the backhoe and the sloping bucket, and then get some hot top, maybe a couple of tons, and do each side and kind of smooth it out a little bit. But like you said, you guys take a look at it and see what you think and give us the go-ahead to go do what we think we can do to help it.
It's got a drainage problem.
Right.
That fixes the traveled way problem. But it really needs to have the water come away from the apron on both sides and go off to what's called a sump. The best example was down on Route 41, the state would dig holes out of the travelway where the water could run off and run into a collection pond where it could sump, bleed out underwater, drain out underwater. So I think you need a small sump. I think one is already actually started on the,
There's a couple of them, yeah. I mean, they were there at one time, but they get plowed in, they get,
because the
thrown
plows
up.
push right into them
Sure,
and fill up.
sure.
So they need some maintenance and some digging, some material to be taken out and that type of stuff.
So I don't know if you want a motion on purchasing asphalt for that project.
Well, we'd probably need a couple tons and we'd use hot top for that. We'd get it right over there at, the plant across the street. And,
Pike?
we'd do the prep work and then get that and lay it out.
I think that's a great project to do at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when the temperature's at 100.
Yes.
Make spreading the asphalt easier.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of 2 tons of asphalt for the Grissom entry apron.
Which is hot top, right?
Yes.
Yeah, asphalt, yeah.
Second.
Hot asphalt. Discussion.
Ballpark price of that? Not that I'm gonna disprove it, I'm just curious as to how much 2
Well,
tons
we
costs.
haven't done much. I can't remember the last time we got hot top was probably before COVID, and a ton used to be around $70 to $75 a ton. I mean, my guess would be it's probably around $100 a ton. I can't see it more than that coal patch was.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking is, I know the numbers used to be, 10 years ago, the numbers used to be $55 a ton. So I can believe that it's 70 or more. If we set not to exceed 200. And the other thing is that the coal patch that he was buying from Burke's Coal Patch, that was we just paid for that.
Right, that was 130 something
Yeah.
or something like that.
For a little less than a ton.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll modify that motion to say not to exceed $200.
A ton.
Per ton,
No, $100 a ton.
Or
100 a ton.
or
Okay.
2 tons.
2 tons,
Right.
$200 purchase.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, we're not talking big dollars.
No, you're not talking a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, a ton used to be before COVID about $78
But you
a
should
ton.
get used to these numbers, you should ask about numbers.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So a ton's, my guess is gonna be somewhere around $100.
120.
I can't imagine it's 100 yet, but
It could be,
I'm
again,
surprised every day by prices.
I could give a call over there and ask, but
200 is fine.
that's the ballpark.
Okay, and that's enough to do the trick.
We think we could do it with 2 tons, yeah, one on
okay.
each side or a little bit,
All right.
It won't last either. But it will, I think it needs to have attention and it's worth it.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
are you gonna work on the drainage?
Yes, we're gonna try to get the drainage fixed
Okay.
on it first,
Yeah.
and then we'll go and put the hot top to it and roll it in with our roll as best as we can. I mean,
Okay.
our roll isn't set up for hot top, but I mean, we'll get it to work as best, so we don't have to go rent a roll just for that.
so is the road, when you work on it, do you put it like at an angle, put the
Well,
hot
see,
top
this
on and the
is,
drainage goes to either side?
The angle is in the off, not, they're not putting a crown on this
Right.
apron, the crown's gonna be flat. The surrounding apron off of the hot top and the ground next to it has to be sloped so it drains it away from all this.
Yeah, that's what I thought I was
see,
saying.
this is the
And
shoulder.
and there's gonna be ditches on either side that it goes into, or what you call collecting pool, or,
No,
no?
They're gonna be back off towards the wood line.
Okay,
it's gonna be a smooth runoff so it doesn't gouge.
right.
And then a collection points away from everything, that's a bus stop. There's
Right.
cars and kids down there
Oh.
every morning. This
Right.
is,
That's
this,
right, that's right.
this is a
See,
community
yeah.
area almost.
Right.
Well,
Right.
that's ending today, so. The
School
bus
is.
stop.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
I
this
did
is,
not
this
know
is
that.
it.
For the
so.
summer, yeah.
But,
they'll-
but,
they'll
but
be
right,
back,
so this,
right.
but it's
Wow.
not gonna be your ultimate fix, because again, like Mark said, it's gonna last for a while.
Would it be better to rent a roller?
For such a small area, I mean, if I rented anything, it's gonna be that
A
little
hand
push,
chamber?
push one
Yeah.
that they have at Coleman's that you fill up with water. And, you know what I mean?
I'd like to give him the option to do that. If
We
he wa-
could.
If he and Tony decide they wanna do that,
Right, I
Jeff
could go
decides
rent
to do
that.
it.
Yeah, if that creates a better fix,
That-
a longer lasting fix, then by all means, yeah.
Okay. But I don't think we need to rent the drive-on roller for this, you know what I mean?
No.
That's,
good,
okay, so that's a
Okay,
good
are you gonna
thing.
vote?
he can rent that. I don't think we need a vote to rent it.
I don't think it's a lot of money to rent
Yeah.
that hand roller.
I don't think we
Yeah.
completed the.
But there was
vote on
still a motion on,
The
that
two
hasn't been
times.
finished
Yeah.
yet.
I
Oh,
got my answer, so,
the hot
yeah.
top.
How do you vote?
Aye.
aye.
3-0.
Okay.
So that goes back to the patch. We got the patch last week, obviously you paid it. So we put that out and that looks better. So I had a question, Nancy, on this picture. Where is that?
It's just
Appendale Way?
north, nope, it's, on Aspen, just upslope from 22, which is a new house. We
Okay,
were out there, looking at the driveway,
You and I drove by it when you drove me to the
Yes.
office, and I said, that house doesn't have
Yes.
a water main in front of it.
right,
While we were in the driveway inspecting it, looked back at the road,
and you saw
it's
that.
starting to undermine the road.
right,
I think it needs
That's gonna need a little patch in
Rock.
there or some
rock
stone.
yeah.
to fill the hole and then stop the erosion from happening in that area.
Yeah, we'll
They
back.
dug a sump to put the mouth of a culvert in. In doing that, they made it so there's steep erosion happening right off the road, and the road is now starting to undermine, so.
Guys, we'll pack that in with
You know
some
which house
stone.
we're talking about? You can
Oh yeah, I know
size it up
exactly what
yourself,
you mean
yeah.
now. Yep.
Okay,
No, I know what you mean now, so we'll take care of that. So we took care of that seat at the playground on the little digger machine. We took care of that sign for you at Salines, we put a screw in that. The list of those GPS culvert pipes, did we print that out? Do we have that, is that? So I could put together that for FEMA?
What, the multi-page thing
Yeah.
that Doug sent?
I don't
I
think
never
that-
printed it.
No.
I took a
but-
look at it, I didn't think it had GPS.
it does.
It did,
Well, it
okay.
has latitude and longitude,
Oh, okay, okay.
So I mean, I
which I
could,
think they got from GPS. They translate a GPS number to do that? Or the device gives them the
The
latitude?
device gives them the numbers.
That's what they wrote down, latitude and longitude.
Yeah, that's what GPS coordinates
Okay.
should be, yeah.
so, I don't know if,
It's 288 pages.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't think you want it printed out.
Well, that's why I didn't print it out.
Right.
okay, so
Just send it to him as
I guess I could come up to the office and look through to try to see what pipes that we cleaned out.
It's,
If you wanna take the time.
the FEMA stuff has shifted away from me doing most of it to a point where Jeff is doing most of it. And actually it's between us, and I don't run into him often enough for us to be doing this project fast enough. And like, we're talking about the specifics of this project right now. Like, I did send your 8 pages
Right.
to New Hampshire,
For the ditching.
yes, to Holly at
Is it Homeland?
Homeland
Homeland
Security.
Security,
I
yeah.
could see the initials, I couldn't figure it out. Homeland Security. And I just asked her yesterday, I didn't hear back from her, if she was good with it.
Right, if she understood it.
So I think what they want from us is, that was just last year, right?
Well,
No,
no,
that was
that's,
ditching to
that's
be
the
done this
proposed
year.
to be ditching done. The
This-
culvert pipes is for last year, what we dug out.
So this,
Yeah,
of the
so
5
that's what we need
projects
the
they keep
coordinates
talking to
on.
us about, the 2 that they seem to want us to focus on are the ones that would allow them to approve money the quickest, whatever that means. And that is, last year, it's debris removal, which translates into the culverts that they cleaned out.
Yep.
That was done last year, just culverts getting cleaned out. And they want the location and the GPS, the size, and they'll accept an average length of 30 feet. So do you have the sizes of these culverts?
Yeah, again, I think they were on those sheets as well.
Yes.
They were.
I've got most of, if you split Eidelweiss Drive
this
in
is
half,
what it's-
I've got almost 90% of the left-hand side all sized.
So the problem is that the 280 something sheets have the culvert numbers, and you have the address of where they are on the street.
Well, yeah, what I did was I started at 1 Eidelweiss
If I
Drive.
told you a culvert number,
I'd have to figure it out.
right, so you need a copy of the file, you need to be sitting,
Yeah, which I could set him up at the other computer with it. And be there to assist him. I don't know.
you don't know what the file looks like, so you have, I know what they both look like.
Right.
It's gonna be matching up what the culvert number of the system that they had on the stake, so.
Right.
In your sheet, which
Right.
doesn't have the numbers of the culverts.
No, but I can't assume anything because we know what happens with that. But yeah, because what I did is I started at 1 Eidelweiss and I went up, and the first pipes, right at the edge of Eidelweiss, so there were pipes before the driveways, and then if there were driveway pipes, I marked 2 Eidelweiss driveway pipe in that pipe, and I sized that one. I don't know if this sheet has those, if it has driveway pipes in it or not, or if it's just all the road pipes.
It's just road pipes, I
Road
believe.
Yeah,
So again, I don't want to assume, but I would think that those start at the beginning of each road and go from there.
So, when it gets hot, it'd be an ideal job to do is to sit in
So
front of the
maybe we
computer and
could
get
do
your
that tomorrow.
first glimpse, like at the end of the day today.
Right,
If you spent a half hour and saw what this file looked like, then you
Right.
get a handle on how you want to go about it.
right.
So just like 30 minutes this
Okay.
afternoon,
Yeah,
give him
Yeah,
an
we
idea what
we
he's
could
got.
do that.
well, that's just bringing it up on the other computer, that's
Right.
it.
Right, and then
It's
It's
taking
not
a
a big
look.
deal, but I
Okay.
mean, if,
And you
It's
got
just-
your yellow
You're
pad
looking-
back. that
Yes,
was
she
in
did,
the
yes,
scanner.
Jan gave me that. So yeah, so that's
Okay.
where we're at with that one.
So I guess I need to see your other notes on, no, that's what we sent to Holly is the
The
roads to
ditching.
be
the ditching.
ditched this year. And I started to measure using the online maps. And I'll show you what that looks like. I don't know what you have for length of Hotwell Drive.
Well, see, that's the thing. Not all of Hotwell Drive. So we drove Hotwell Drive. We estimated parts that would probably need to be ditched, and that's what we wrote down for foot
So you don't
feet.
have the whole length of Hotwell
So
Drive.
we don't have the whole length.
That's, yes, I see what you're doing.
You know what I mean? We figured, well, we're not gonna ditch.
So is there any use for me to tell you the lengths of all the roads? The
I
actual
don't
length?
think at this point, because
Because
what
I don't know where it is that you are saying this is what needs.
Right, because what we did was, okay, this section between, let's say, 22
I
and,
gotcha.
and 91.
Yeah.
And that's both sides of the road, that type of thing. So that's where we got our footage from, for when we put that down there. So we kind of, that was a little more detailed than what I was doing with the culverts, was the
Right.
ditching.
And me measuring the roads on a computer map is of no use because,
Not for the FEMA thing at this point.
no, knowing what the length of our roads is, but it's not an exercise that I can invest in right now.
Right. I don't, no, that's not any added work we gotta put on your
Right.
shoulders.
All right, so we'll deal with that later. okay?
Right.
All right. We'll have something to report to them. We're gonna get one of these things done for these FEMA people.
Right, and
By the way,
like-
they want to send people up here to help us do this stuff.
yeah, they did
Oh,
offer
like-
some help.
It's like,
What,
now we have a
GPS
management
wise
problem
and
is,
measuring?
Anything.
yeah, they want to be out on the roads.
Yeah.
It's like,
I thought they wanted to, come and inspect again, because when they came,
they want, that's a separate memo they sent, is they
Oh.
want to do inspections, but I don't know how she says her name, it's not Monique, it's Monique or something.
Yeah.
She wanted to come up
Yeah.
and actually help us measure these culverts.
Right.
So it's like,
So I missed a little, I was taking a call from Dawson, which I'll report on later, but,
We were just talking the FEMA stuff here still. with the
Right.
GPS
I was just
coordinates.
gonna add to the, still, wouldn't it behoove us to print out that 288-page document, put it in a 3-ring binder, so you've got a working
well,
document?
he's gonna
all
come in the
culverts?
office and she's gonna bring it up on the screens for him to see what it looks like to get a handle
So
on
I
what he
could at
wants to
least
do
go
with it.
through
At
it and
least
get an
what it
idea
looks
what
like.
it
They
looks like.
decide
I've
they
been
wanna
Yeah,
print it
fine.
out.
Yeah, I
after-
mean, it's easier to make handwritten notes again, next to each culvert, because it's probably, it's a PDF document, right? You can't
Right,
annotate that on
No.
the screen.
no.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just,
not with the software that
That's
we
me, I
have.
still like paper.
Yeah,
Well, if they decide that
Right.
once he sees what it is,
right,
he
we could,
knows
we
what
could
he has
make
to
that,
do, he
you
can
know, it's
decide how
not
he wants
something
to
we,
do it.
Right.
out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, and then a secondary use of that would be is, you know, how good is that document today? I mean, I imagine a lot of it is pretty good, but there may be others that's just not right.
Right.
One thing he missed is it has just the road culverts, and they did driveway culverts last year, so it's
Yeah.
not all of them
Yeah.
anyway.
Right.
Right.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
So moving on from that,
Yeah.
since we're still talking about pipes, are we purchasing a couple pieces of pipe to do that door fly? And that's an 18-inch pipe. It's gonna need 30 feet of pipe to replace what's there, 32 feet of pipe. So how we move, you know, we gotta purchase some pipe to do that. So on that end as well, I don't know if you guys have been up by Eidelweiss, I don't know where we are, what we do with that driveway pipe is junk in there. Again, I don't, driveway pipes, not something we get into,
We're
or
talking about number 9?
9 Eidelweiss. That's another 18-inch pipe there as well. So
Wait, are we responsible for that or the homeowner?
now see, that's
Like,
where-
is it in, is,
it's their driveway.
yeah.
It's our ditch. Again, I don't know how any of that works. That's, I could
It's
tell you.
changed over the years.
I could tell you what I was accustomed to doing the last 8 years under that tutelage, or, you know,
I think once it's in now, they have to make, that they aren't responsible for it anymore, now it's us.
Okay.
So, you got any idea what we're gonna be buying, 1, 2, 3,
it sounds like
320s?
we could get away with 320s and make those two issues work.
What's the diameter? 18 inch?
18 inch. Now, I'm not positive of what those pipes cost at this point, but I mean, again, before COVID, a 15-inch, 20-foot pipe, plastic pipe, was like $225. I know that price is almost doubled now.
Oh, easy.
So we can't go over, the web doesn't deal with pipes anymore, so it's either Smithfield,
Yeah.
Water Industries, or Paris Farmers.
Just as a note, we used to have it all planned out, and when we had our annual meetings in February, we would have the budget, and I would order from the factory in Massachusetts a truckload of them.
Right.
And we would get it delivered quickly because the rest of the municipalities hadn't had their annual meeting and weren't ready to order. We got the order in, like in March, when nobody was ordering. The tractor trailer used to come up and just dump a whole lot of culverts, and we were putting culverts in like crazy.
And that's, again, that's the best scenario, because they
We'll
do
get there
deliver
again.
them, and,
Yeah.
I mean, when Webb was there, it was easy to just go across, throw them on
yeah.
the hood of the
I'm
the
surprised
bed of
they
the truck
stopped
and
that.
haul them over there, you know, with a strap. It's not as easy driving across North Conway with a bunch of pipes sticking out of the truck.
So these aren't the only 2 driveway culverts that we need to replace.
And
There's
these
a lot
aren't,
of them that are
I mean,
destroyed.
that's how far do you wanna go with pipes? I mean, I know of some pipes on roads that need to be replaced, I
Yeah.
mean, that are, you know,
Is there a way of prioritizing which ones are really gonna harm us and which ones can hold off till we do a planning session for?
well, I could go
Next-
and get a
next-
few more, I
next
mean,
year.
I don't know how much it is for a delivery charge, or if you get X amount of
Well-
pipes, if they waive the delivery
How
charge.
is the Adelboden driveway pipe affecting us?
It's not really at this point, I mean, but I mean, some heavy rains, it could be washing out into the road and washing the road overtaking, you know, water jumping. There's nothing getting in that pipe.
Right.
How did this come about, this issue with this driveway's culvert?
We were digging the pipes out last year
Oh,
during the
okay.
thing, and we saw that this one, the gas truck or somebody must have run over it, and
Oh.
it just failed right where the seam is probably, and it's an old metal pipe that's
Oh.
rusted out, and it just collapsed. Kinda just like the one on Dilly Dork there.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of 3 20-foot, 18-inch smoothbore plastic culverts.
Second.
So one for Adelboden, one for Doorfly, and where's the third one going? Just
No,
start.
we're gonna end up cutting the pipe,
For 30 feet,
Right.
you need to cut it one
Right.
and a half.
so one will get cut in half, a little off half, and
I missed
be
that.
used here
Okay,
and there,
gotcha,
so.
gotcha, okay.
so we could get going on those two projects then.
So is the culvert on Dorfly, one residence is that there?
It's a road
It's a
culvert.
road
It's a road
culvert, it's not a
culvert.
driveway, but
Okay,
that one,
okay.
that's kind of an
Yes.
important one to get going
Yeah.
on
Where the
soon.
Class 6 road turns off East Bergamo, there's a
Right.
culvert right underneath that.
Right, I know that road
There's a
well.
hole
just-
right in the middle of the
Okay,
road.
so it's right where the turn off is
Yes.
off of East Bergamo, okay.
So that one we'd like to get soon.
Gotcha, all right.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3-0 on the three culverts.
So, the Grizzen pipe. We always thought after the damage last year to the storm, when the log or whatever came in and flapped that metal pipe and bent them in like it has, and that catches all the debris down there, we thought that if we were able to, if it got low enough, we'd get in there and cut those flaps off with a Sawzall or something and try to pull some of the debris out there to get that pipe to flow better. It may help, it may not, you know, so I don't know if you want us to spend any time to try to mess with that. It's low now. It's probably it's like halfway below the top of the pipe. You know, if I got in with some shorts on and kind of get in there and messed around with that, it's worth spending some time on or not. I don't know what you guys feel about that.
How big of a pipe are we talking about?
Well, that pipe is the 3-foot pipe that's in there that's failed and that's got the
Oh.
road closed.
So,
Oh,
when the big loop pipe got damaged, the new one, it looks like to me that an outrigger from a backhoe pushed down through the ground and
Logging truck.
pushed the hole into the culvert. In talking to the contractor that put that culvert in for us, he has seen that before, recommended that a hydraulic jack be put inside the culvert,
Right.
push that piece of metal back and seal it. So I'm wondering whether a hydraulic jack at Grissom would bend things that, instead of cutting it.
Well, we've seen it, and it's so rotted out that they're just, you know, the pipe's like this, and they're folded down
Yeah.
like this, and it's broken. We just figure if we could cut those flaps off, they're not going to
Then they won't
catch.
bend back down again.
They won't catch the debris.
So-
Like I know what you're saying on that pipe, and that would work there. I don't think that's the situation over there.
I
at
was just
the
thinking
entrance.
if you rent a jack, you could get both things done, but
Right.
you gotta cut one and jack the other.
Right.
Okay.
Oh.
So, I don't have any problem with,
Yeah,
You know,
cutting that away.
it's us spending some time there is all it is.
you
If
have to
it
rent a
works,
tool?
no, I think we could use the Sawzall and use what we have. But like I said, because there's another sinkhole up there. It's a smaller one over by the entrance of the pipe where the cement wall is, and there's a small sinkhole about that big now. We put a cone on it and I threw a bunch of wood chips in there.
more wood chips. More wood chips.
Yeah, I just grabbed them off the pile and tossed them in there, but there is a small sinkhole starting at a different point there on that road.
So where do you want to cut? That's where the.
This is
damages-
down in the
entrance
stream.
At the bottom where the water, the original pipe at the bottom where the water flows through, the entrance of it is caved in by logs coming down during the
Okay.
storms and
Yeah, yeah,
bashing
yeah.
it. And it's weak because it's rotted out.
Right.
Okay.
And the whole pipe is probably rotted out.
The
So
whole pipe's
we
probably.
should expect holes all the way across as we go. So
But
get more wood chips.
Right. The way the flaps kind of fall in there, the sticks that come down the stream get caught up in there.
Yep.
And then the leaves get caught up in there. And then it backs up and then the water comes up. And, you know, this might get it to flow a little better, which could help everybody in the long run. I mean, I know
It
that
buys us a little more time.
it's right. It's
Yep.
nothing that's going to fix anything.
Yeah.
It's just going to help maybe the process move a little bit.
Okay, got it.
And that's, speed bumps. The buses end today, so we're gonna go forward and put the speed bumps in for the summer. So we may come in early, you know, it's light around 5 o'clock during this hot weather. We may come in early, say on Thursday, and try to like just screw them in real quick or something like that. So if you
No
see
traffic.
something like that on the time cards, you know, that's
Yeah.
just, we'll leave early, come in early, that type of thing. But that's it, that's all I got.
Should we talk about street signs while he's here?
Yeah,
Sure.
saw the ones you sent out the pictures of throwing.
I saw one on Oak there. pointing towards the lodge.
He put one
He
up?
must have put one up.
Okay, so that's a different one.
Okay.
That's a
It's
traffic sensor.
black and
What-
white.
Black and white with the arrow?
Yeah, points
That's
towards
the
the
one he
lodge.
chose to put
Huh?
up?
So that was $9.70.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he paid for it himself.
Yeah,
Solved the problem, we okayed it.
yeah,
Sent him a sample and that's what he did.
right.
Nice.
Now, so we're talking about, you were here for that, I think,
Yes,
right?
last week it was street signs, yep, and I saw
so-
what you sent out.
So those are not heavy duty signs, those are aluminum.
Right.
You can get them with the text on both sides, but I'm locked in the idea of trying to keep them off the steel poles if we can, and putting them on trees, which means we don't have to do both sides. And the more you buy, the cheaper it gets. And once you design it, well, I did a few designs to send you copies of it. Now that company is offering me better and better terms because they see I'm a hot fish and they're trying to reel me in. So the deal keeps getting better. So, do you want to get a few of them to see how it goes?
Yeah, let's sample, yeah. And what do we need them for?
Big
Was
loop.
it for big loop?
Big loop.
Big loop,
That's the definite
Um,
one. I mean,
Was it presidential? layout?
presidential
president.
view,
View.
and Oak Ridge. And I don't know if we need one for Clausen.
Well, the one up at the top of, if I recall correctly, where the intersection goes toward the summit and then goes down Presidential View toward Clausen, that old sign is barely readable unless you're right up. It says, it has the arrow pointing toward Clausen.
Bonnie Miller put that in a long time ago.
Who?
Bonnie Miller. she
Okay,
was
you can't read that from a distance if that's.
You're
what-
talking about after you're near the cellular towers,
You're right at
that
the T,
intersection,
you're right at the
right.
T, where,
right,
yeah,
right.
of Oak Ridge,
Before you get to that, at the V intersection where Presidential View starts
right,
and Oak Ridge continues towards there's nothing there.
There's nothing.
There's no signage.
that's correct, yes.
That's
yes.
what we-
Okay,
Right.
We're trying to
gotcha,
solve that problem.
gotcha.
Because he was having a problem if they stayed on Oak Ridge Road, they couldn't find where his house was. But before you even get there, you're not sure whether you're on Oak Ridge Road, because there's nothing to tell you this is Presidential View going this way and this is Oak Ridge going this way.
Correct.
So I'll make a motion that that I order,
3
um,
to begin with.
yeah, 3 signs, one for Presidential View, one for Oak Ridge Road, and one for Big Loop. We'll start with that, you get to see what they look like.
Yep.
They're 5 inches by 18 inches. Now, you can get them plain green, I don't think we should put the logo on it, I was just showing you that we could do anything we wanted with it, but I think
No.
putting the logo on it makes it even more attractive to put it up over your bar in
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, let's keep
Cambridge,
it
Massachusetts.
not attractive for anybody.
Right.
Just, nothing fancy,
Just
just
a
Now-
road.
utilitarian.
I heard
yeah.
you two like the white
The
line.
white-
Yep.
Yes, it shows up more, it's better viewable,
There's a border.
it's
More
more
reflective.
attractive.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
me too.
Now, we're not gonna buy any, you can get them with a protective coating on them. These signs I'm just gonna buy as is to get the lowest price and get them up there.
Oh, okay, you bring up a good point, let me just ask about the white line. I don't have an objection to it unless it reduces the size of the letters themselves, or are they the same size?
I can make the letters whatever size I want.
It looked like the letters were the same
Okay,
size.
Yeah.
that's the
In that-
key, is
in that case it
being able
was.
to read from a distance.
Yeah.
Presidential View Drive has a lot of letters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna take up all
And I
18
think
inches.
that white border was pretty thick.
Yeah,
If-
but I don't know, it was a lot of green left without the border, you know what I
I'm
mean?
thinking of if I can get a thinner border, it gives me more space for
Okay.
bigger text.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see if we
I'll
can
put
do
a
that.
white line on.
All right,
Either get the one that you saw, or I'll find one that I can get on there that's thinner.
Okay,
And so I'll make a motion that we order those signs. I guess I already did.
Yep.
Did it get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on that?
no, just the big letters, because I know that I hate towns where you can't even read the sign until you're practically underneath it. So, yeah,
All in favor?
all right.
Aye.
3-0. That's the sign.
Yep.
That sounds good.
So good job on patching those potholes.
Thank you.
fixing that salmon sign. And I don't know if you saw the patchwork they did with gravel. They did a few roads.
Yeah,
Eidelweiss Drive.
well, that's what I was saying, that one that, down Middle Shore, the newer home, the new driveway there, the modular, that there was a big rush, huh?
That's Little Shore.
Little Shore, that's right, I'm sorry, thank you. Yeah, that had been running right across the road there, out of the driveway there.
I wanted to bring that up. On the west end of Appinville, towards what we call Playground Hill,
Yeah.
where the gravel stops, it's gravel until you get to number 11, I think it turns into the pavement that goes down into Playground Hill.
Oh,
There are driveways that they had to put gravel down where those steep driveways pot up the road. So we have to have the voters know that the driveway ordinance is written the way that it is to try to prevent us from having to continue to go back and maintain gravel roads in front of steep driveways. They'll let their water come down the driveway out into the road, and then the traffic creates the potholes because it's wetter than, or the erosion just does it itself.
Right.
So here again, we're putting money down in front of familiar driveways that have problems that eventually we want voter support in going after fixing all of this so that we're not paying to fix the roads over and over again in front of these driveways.
Yep. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay cool, drink
Well,
water.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'll be a hot one today.
Yes. Thank you, have a good day.
you too. Scheduled public appearances, we have none, and the time is 9:47. We finished the DPW. If there's no scheduled public appearances, we're going into administrator's report.
you have to read them because I didn't print.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
The first one on your list is A, I have it here.
Okay.
You have it printed out?
I have it printed out, yeah, if you
Oh,
want.
Can I steal that?
Yes, you may.
Okay, yep, just mentioning again, the dam inspection, we've concluded, will happen on Thursday, June 27th, 10
That'll
a.m.
need to be posted
Okay.
as a separate meeting for the commissioners, because we'll all be there.
Okay,
Yep.
And that might collide with the FEMA meeting that happens at 11, so I hope to remember to tell them that we probably need to rearrange the FEMA meeting, because I want to be at that, and I think it might take more than an hour. He said roughly 10 o'clock too,
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
so I want flexibility in that.
absolutely.
Now, this next one, if that's all you have on the dam, the next one's gonna be a discussion. We can have it now or during commission's report, probably now. This is the CCR. This is the Consumer Confidence Report.
Mhm.
yep.
I don't know if you had, do you have everything you wanna say about it, or you wanna
On
get?
the consumer,
Yeah,
no, I've got nothing to contribute to that, but
you wanna get
you
it
brought
done.
up a point about it.
When does it wanna be out by? Was there a date that it wanted to be out by?
Yeah, it's somewhere early,
Why I say July?
yeah, the end of June, beginning of July,
Yeah,
it's,
I think it's
it has to
towards
be
the end of June.
done, yeah.
Did you guys have a chance to read it?
I did?
So, here's the first point of it. The Consumer Confidence Report is written to talk about the previous year.
Yes,
Right,
That's very confusing. You get it in 2024, you might get it in June or July
Yeah.
2024, depending on when we're getting it out. I read it
as it's current.
as if it's describing what's going on, and that's when I said, have there been any more tests done on the Money Beach well? Because the Consumer Report is saying that earlier in the year, we had a test that went over the maximum allowable contaminant
But
level
that
of
was-
uranium.
Yeah,
mhm.
agreed.
But it wasn't talking about which year it was. So I'm reading it thinking
That is current.
that it's the one that happened in April of 2024. And then it goes on to say, but since then, tests have shown that all the numbers went back to normal.
but he's
I
talking
want wet
about
tests,
last year.
right.
Yeah.
So-
Doesn't it say something at the very beginning?
Yes.
That says all the tests are the prior years?
Further down, there's another paragraph that talks about tests going back 20 years.
Yes, because some things you don't test very often, some you test permanently.
Yeah.
So-
So those tests are still listed as the current tests, even though they haven't been done in 10 years.
So here's the thing, is that you have to be very careful on how you're reading it in its current state. The other thing is, it makes a lot of comments that I'm not sure that this board has agreed to as to what we're doing, such as that we're gonna pursue grants and it's almost like a master plan for the water system. That, who drafted this? I mean, does it start with a template from the state?
Yes,
And then the water operator modifies it, puts in Eidelweiss specific stuff, and is that just text from previous years?
Yeah, and from what I understand, it's just the highlighted areas.
No, there's non-highlighted areas that are specific to Eidelweiss
I
in that.
see,
right,
That was another confusing thing about it.
okay.
yeah. The water operator does the chart, all the stuff that goes below that original first page, with all the testing results.
Yeah.
And then the area on the first page is where the commissioners can change or modify the wording.
So, did you have any areas in there that you wanted to modify?
I thought we had discussed possibly updating some of the stuff to show what we're planning on doing this year. 'Cause it does have some different statements up at the top. I don't have a copy of it, unfortunately.
Okay, so I want to make sure that it is a consumer confidence report. And I wasn't confident of the water system after I read the draft that we currently have, so I think it needs to be reviewed. I think it needs a lot of work.
Okay? What are you thinking needs to be?
I think we need to have our draft that the three of us review and decide once we have a version of it that has the beginnings of our language in it. First I'm saying I can't approve it the way that it is now.
Right.
So we need another draft of what we would approve, or try to approve. So I guess there'll be lots of silent time here while you wait for me to say, I will draft another version of this.
No, actually, I thought one had already been started, but we can certainly look at it, and we are gonna be getting together tomorrow morning, so we'll be
Yeah, maybe give us time to
finishing this,
re-review it.
and we can maybe have printouts and talk about it once we're done with the employee review.
Yeah, I'd like to go over that again, and the question is that boilerplate that then's just sort of updated every year?
The testing gets updated every year
Yep.
or whenever the last group of that testing was done. 'Cause there's some, like I said, that you only do every so often. It's the beginning that we can do the big modification. The rest of it is all DES required.
Okay.
When you say a draft has already begun, where's that draft? Who did that draft? Did you start to write something?
It's
No.
simply Water's draft is what we're looking at. I
Okay.
don't know of any other draft.
Okay.
Okay,
Now, the second point, you're saying we could work on it tomorrow. Tomorrow's a non-public session.
We'd have to go into public.
This would have to be done,
well, if we,
particularly a water conference report doesn't want to be done in a non-public session.
no, that would definitely be public.
So that would need.
Because we're gonna
posted.
be, not adjourning today, we're gonna be resetting for tomorrow morning because tomorrow's not posted. So we can add additional public stuff for happening after the employee review if we want.
Okay, but we really needed to get, I guess I can try to come up with a interim draft for us to discuss tomorrow, between now and tomorrow. Otherwise, we're just continuing this conversation that we're having right now without anything in front of us.
Right. Right, but if we at least have copies for tomorrow so
Refresh my
that we all
memory.
have it in front of us.
Is the yellow it's still pertaining to the 2023 year? All that
Yes.
yellow?
The
Okay.
whole thing is supposed to pertain to
That's the key.
Right.
Is when I read the sentence, so from the introduction, there's nothing that says the date of 2023 is not in this at all.
It's up at the top.
At
Yes,
the very top, it says the 2024 Consumer Confidence Report, parentheses, 2023 data.
yes,
But this is not data,
correct.
this is an introduction, and
So it needs to,
it has the sense the Muddy Beach wells have always shown some signs of uranium, but we crossed over the MCL in the earlier part of the year. What year?
Yeah, I
23.
know.
2023,
So
okay,
he's
yeah.
saying
2023.
So yeah, so it happened last year too.
Yes.
I see.
Right,
Okay,
at
so
the
that's-
exact same month.
Weird.
Yes,
So I read it and thought, why are they saying that the numbers went back down
Because they did
last year?
yes.
last year.
But everybody that's reading this just got a notification
I
that
know,
there was
you're right.
it exceeded in April. So they're gonna be reading this for
Very
guidance on
confused. Yeah,
the current situation. And the state doesn't even require any testing, which is another question I have. It seemed to me we had to test,
Quarterly. DES shows
it
on,
must be a big concern if you wanna wait 3 months before you test again.
that's what they're requiring us to do.
It's not that big of a concern for them,
Right,
is what I read out of that.
right,
right, well, they said if this was an emergency, this is not an emergency, otherwise we would have.
And the bottom line is, they say that prolonged usage of water that exceeds that is above the MCL could cause problems. So that, whatever long usage is, they're talking years.
mm-hmm,
Unless you have a medical problem, then they're telling you to go talk to your doctor. I think it was more specific somewhere else, maybe even in this. Anyway, so the plan is that we will recess this meeting into tomorrow? Is that what you,
yeah, because that's the only way we're gonna have the non-public tomorrow morning
we
anyway.
gotta get this done
Yeah.
too, right?
And we gotta get this done,
And it just has to be clear.
yes.
All right, I'll take a stab at it and hopefully have something that we can,
and maybe it's just adding in the year.
You,
Maybe it's just adding in.
Just to make it clear that we're
to make
talking
it
about
clear we're- that we
2023.
are
but we have to say something about what's going on now.
I don't think that's the point
correct.
of it.
If
It's
we're gonna say
2023
anything
data, that's it.
About this year, it goes in that yellow box area.
It has statements like, moving forward, the board will
Yep.
continue to look for opportunities for granting, it's not talking about it last year exclusively. It
Right.
talks about what's going on now.
Right, that's where I'm thinking that we can put the wording that we used on the uranium notice, saying that we're looking at,
Yes.
possibly looking at some osmotic to filter it out or
That
things
does-
like that.
But we need to make it clear that that's based on 2024. We weren't thinking about reverse osmosis filtration back in 2023 when we got that spike in the uranium.
Correct.
It was
Right.
never discussed,
It was
right,
never
Right.
discussed
by the previous
by the
board.
previous
Right.
board. So we have to make that clear.
We had the engineer talk to us about it, and he sent a follow-up document, public document, bulletin about uranium, which we didn't discuss, but you may not remember it, because that was
Well,
a month ago. Yeah. A lot of stuff. Okay, so we're gonna leave it that we're gonna not adjourn this meeting, we're gonna continue this meeting into tomorrow into the non-public session, and then a public session where we're gonna discuss the,
CCR,
Let's get back up to
CCR.
speed, I agree.
Okay.
Let me,
Yeah.
I wanna get back up to speed on that.
right.
okay, so back to the agenda. Bullet C is Muddy Beach number 2, pump well repairs by Simply Water.
Yeah. I know Woodard recently sent something about the test.
That was the
te-
bacteria tests.
The bacteria
That just
test.
went to my email only for some reason. But that doesn't have to do with the pump.
Okay,
And the bacteria
I thought-
testing is done by Granite State Analytical, and it will be done prior to the due date,
Okay,
every month.
but are we responsible for forwarding it to the Cognizant DES board, or does
No.
Granite State do that?
They do that.
They do that, okay. So they're paying us though.
So
Because we're the
that was
system owners.
specifically asking about bacteria, nothing about uranium,
Right.
correct?
Right?
That
Correct.
was just bacteria,
All
yeah.
right, good,
Those are regular bacteria
Yeah, it's the
tests.
monthly
Yeah.
bacteria test.
yeah. And,
So I think that's just an automatic reminder.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah.
This note is a courtesy reminder, as of today, we have not received the following sample results for the public water system. So in
Right.
other words, it kinda sounds like they're like
It's-
putting us on
yeah,
notice.
Right.
and it did.
It's due the end of the month,
Okay,
and it will be taken and
okay,
sent to the state before the end of the month.
Right,
all right. I just wanna make
Okay.
sure they didn't
Yeah.
want me to go around running the test
No.
tubes and taking water.
No,
What am I doing?
no.
no,
Besides, you
So-
have to be tested, you have to know. how to-
I know, I'm just joking around, but this fact that it only came to my
getting
email.
back to
huh?
The pump,
the pump.
Yep.
And the testing of that
Yes.
particular pump that's, wanting to see the levels. Basically, the response I got back from my work order that I submitted, he's basically saying that it needs to be fixed before they can go test it. Which I didn't think
No, there's a problem?
that was. So I had.
so we
forwarded-
haven't seen a water usage report to know whether we have been using Muddy Beach 1 and Muddy Beach 2 at all.
From what I've put together, the majority of time, we are not using Muddy
Not.
Beach.
Correct.
At all.
We're seeing zero.
And you get that from
The
From the
SCADA.
readings, yeah.
the SCADA system.
Yep. Yeah, I got a bunch in the last few months that I gotta fill in from the books. But the rest of it is coming straight out of the SCADA, and it's zeros all the way down on
It is.
Muddy Beach.
Okay, so let's back up to a higher plane here. We don't have a water usage report, and we should have them. And Nancy used to go into the pump houses to get the books that Simply Water would usually bring to the office, where she could compile the water usage report for the commissioners years ago. Another thing about that consumer report, now that you remind me, is it says, so you have to find this. What is the source of my drinking water? And this paragraph, it says that the water comes from 2 bedrock wells in Muddy Beach and a gravel packed municipal well at DPW. It says the water is treated to raise the pH with sodium bicarbonate and sodium hydroxide, commonly referred to as caustic soda. Well, I was able to go escorted into the facilities last year after waiting several months. And I was surprised to see that in 2023, that this report says that we were using sodium bicarbonate when the employee of the water operator told me that they're not using that system at all. And this gets to this dual thing of how the previous boards were okay with the commissioners not having access to our own water facilities.
Yeah, no, I definitely want access.
So I think we need to there's several things that we need the water operator to come in to a meeting. But I'm gonna make a motion here that we notify Simply Water that we want the combination numbers to access all of the water facilities.
Second.
Because I can't tell you whether we should have a statement in here that says that we use sodium bicarbonate to raise the pH level when my most recent knowledge is that we don't. We're not using it at all.
Yeah, we'd have to look back the last couple of years, but to see if any has been purchased.
That's
So
one thing,
it's-
is we haven't got pallets of this. The other thing is that the pH level is within 1/10 of a point of being at the top of the range of acceptability. It's 8.4 was the last one that I saw. And I remember Paul Flewitt would say we should be operating at a pH level of 7.6. So,
does one type of chemical treatment work better than another?
these are to be used in combination.
And right now, we're only using one.
Right.
Mhm.
And we could also ask the engineer about this circumstance. But anyway, the subject that's in front of us now is access to
Access, yeah.
the buildings.
Yes.
So that's the motion on the floor.
Access is needed for what purpose?
That we can inspect what's going on, that we
Okay.
can access the books and we can inspect what's going on with these systems. How would we know whether or not we're releasing a consumer confidence report is true if we can't see the system ourselves? Because if we haven't been using it and we got this draft from the water operator,
We would
then
think that we were using it.
why should we rely on this at all?
Okay.
So that's the motion on the floor,
Would
access.
would this access still require a representative from the water operator to be
No.
with us?
No, because if they did that, she'd have the numbers that she doesn't seem to have
Right.
access to, and that we're not reporting to the state, because we
Right.
report the water usage numbers to the state, the water operator doesn't, correct?
Correct.
And we don't know the water usage numbers ourselves,
Right.
and we don't know when the water operator's coming to another meeting, so we need to get that all back on track.
Okay.
So there was a motion on the floor. Any further discussion on the motion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0. No, I don't think that answers your question about Muddy Beach pump.
Well, no, it totally went off.
Yeah, we don't-
Here's the key to that though, is why are we fixing a pump
That we're not
that
using.
the water operator isn't telling us we're not even using? When the water operator told us that you
Right.
have to use the well or else the state will make you seal it permanently.
Mhm.
Here's my concern. And
Right.
we're not reporting the usage to the state for the state to see that these pumps aren't being used, that this well isn't being used. So we need a better reporting, we need better access to this information.
Right.
And I thought it wasn't going offline. I thought they were just reducing the volume.
That's what we asked for.
Yeah.
That's
But we're
what we
also-
asked for,
We're
but,
also not seeing water usage numbers to see whether that was followed through on.
right.
And people wanna know.
Yeah.
People are asking me what the ratio is of Muddy Beach to the DPW well. And I have concerns about representations of that, is that I don't know exactly how the mixing is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, the answer to these and other questions,
So we really can't address this whole pump thing till we have,
I don't wanna address,
Yeah.
I don't want a work order on a pump that I don't have this information.
Right, but originally it started with the work order to obtain a sample that they could coordinate with.
engineer wanted.
Correct. And Simply Water is coming back saying that apparently that can't be done because the pump is broken.
there's two pumps in there.
No, he wanted samples out of both wells.
Correct.
Each well has its own pump at the bottom.
Right.
The water operator is saying, I can't give you a sample out of Muddy Beach 2 because that pump doesn't work.
Correct.
Which,
Right.
did we know that?
No, when was that discovered? Yeah.
That's why I say the answers to these and other questions have to come.
Well, I think it was discovered because back at the end of May, he submitted the verbal quote that he sent, talking about Muddy Beach 2, which I forwarded it again to you guys to read. That's when he, sent us the excavating, pricing and stuff like that. This was his
Right.
Yeah.
verbal quote that was sent
Well,
with it,
That's on May 31st, so that's,
to replace Muddy Beach to well pump.
a little over 2 weeks ago, so,
Yeah, and I sent it to you guys again on 6/11.
right.
So,
So he's just
I,
asking us to look at this and move forward with it,
Well,
or get it moving.
isn't he supposed to be at these meetings at least once a month to bring us up to speed on everything that's going
Well, I
on?
can ask him to come
we
in.
have left that open for, when we ask them.
yeah,
So
Correct.
I think we need to get him in here, like, next week.
well, we can ask him when he can come, yes.
Yeah.
So, our interest in Muddy Beach number 2 started when Nick said we should get a sample out of there.
Yes,
Right,
And
correct.
so now I'm just thinking, in terms of cash flow, is it a major investment in fixing Muddy Beach number 2? I don't have those numbers
It's
in front of me.
$9,000 is the verbal quote.
So it's gonna cost us $9,000 to get a sample for Nick,
Yeah,
is basically the way I'm
well, it's
looking at
gonna
it now.
replace the
We'll
pump,
replace the pump, but nonetheless,
so
yes.
it might put the well back into operation.
That well,
That well, yes,
on a well that we wanna run at a minimum, Muddy Beach. So Muddy Beach number 1, we don't know whether you're saying you don't see any numbers out of SCADA saying that that's even being used.
correct,
So if you're not
It's-
using number 1, would you pay $9,000 to get number 2, working to get a sample for Nick?
I think it would be a lot more than just for Nick. Yes, we'd get the sample, but having the wells operational is always gonna be a benefit, cause when we need it, it needs to work.
But okay, so when the pumps are working, Muddy Beach number 2 and number 1 can't run at the same time.
Right,
Because I believe Muddy Beach
Correct.
number 2 runs out of water.
correct.
So now is it worth $9,000?
Only if Muddy Beach 1 is
When you don't know
questionable.
whether you're gonna
Right.
be using Muddy Beach at all, you haven't made a decision of whether you're gonna invest in uranium treatment, should it go permanently above the limits? And now you have to
Right.
treat it.
right.
Right, but we're certainly not in a position to even start a discussion about a new well field. And right now, this is what we have.
Well, I'd like to know what the condition of Muddy Beach 1 is. Let's say we had to take DPW down for a while, and Muddy Beach was the source. Can Muddy Beach 1 supply that for a short period of time? And is Muddy Beach 1 in good condition? We know that Muddy Beach 2 is not.
We don't know why Muddy Beach 1, according to SCADA, hasn't been contributing at all.
Again, that's why I would like to get Ian in here as soon as possible. We got so many questions.
Right,
And we want to address them and do it properly, but we need answers, which we don't have yet.
That's the
Right.
point I'm making. I'm not against the $9,000 if we have a good basis to do it.
right.
But I think we have questions that we need answered before.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely still questions.
Yeah, I don't want this to just be a rubber stamp thing. We need,
No. No, not
So-
suggesting a rubber stamp.
So we don't have a motion on the
We've had it
floor,
that way in the past.
right?
Huh?
We don't have a motion, we didn't.
Nope,
No,
no.
Okay.
you did.
Right
it
now,
the
we're just
last one.
discussing.
So I'll make a motion that Jennifer sends a message to Ian asking why SCADA isn't showing Muddy Beach 1 contributing any water to the usage.
Yeah,
That's the starting point. We need that answer before he can arrange to actually come here and answer other questions too. I hope it didn't sound like we were beating up on Simply Water too badly about it.
No, I don't think we're.
We're just
beating
trying to
them.
understand.
Yeah, we're just trying to understand.
We pay Simply Water a lot of money, and we need, this is part of their job, to tell us
Okay.
why. Help us do our job.
Is that Does that cover you on, Muddy Beach 2 well pump? We need the answer to that question,
Yes.
so we can decide. The next one is work orders, request from Muddy Simply, work
Yes,
order request from Simply Water.
I've got at least 4 work orders
Yep.
he's requesting. And I wanted you guys to review them before I went ahead and created these work orders.
It's right here. Right, the Aspen bleeder, Grouchin Drive. Is that cutoff valve?
Yes, the Aspen bleeder, I looked at that.
Mm-hmm.
That has a eighth of an inch copper bleeder pipe coming out the top.
Yeah.
They squeeze down and sprays. It was apparent that they couldn't close the valve at the bottom and shut that off for the summer, that they had to take that eighth of an inch copper pipe and crimp it.
Crimp it to
And
stop flow.
it didn't completely stop it, which is, it got the attention of the property owner that lives in there who reported it. And I went to look at it and saw, I think my conclusion was that they needed to fix this valve.
Okay.
So, the valve is inoperable, they'd have to cut that thing off, and
Mm-hmm.
so we probably need to fix that.
Yeah,
So, you wanna do these one by one?
Yep,
Sure.
yep,
I'll make a motion that we approve a work order to fix the Aspen bleeder curb valve, the valve.
second.
Aye.
Further discussion, Nancy?
No.
3-0?
Yes. Aye.
Number 2 is number 4, Gratian curb valve bent over, missing cap, needs excavation to replace box and stem if needed, valve will be assessed.
so it's similar to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Actually,
No, it's not a
it's
bleeder.
different, it's the,
Oh,
This is a curb stop.
he doesn't know whether the valve has been affected.
yeah.
Some of these curb valves are sticking up where driveway plows can hit them,
Yeah,
and so they hit them, and now they can't put their tool down to operate the valve, which is way down below ground.
I see.
So I'll make a motion that we approve number 2, the fixing of the bent over missing cap on 4 Gratian.
Aye. Or second.
Discussion? How do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0 on number 2 for
Mhm.
Gretchen. Number 3 is 9 Winnegon curb valve bent over under pavement. We cut the pavement to find it inoperable. Make a motion that we approve a work order to fix the valve, the curb sub valve bent access on number 9 Winnegon. Is that a second? Discussion? How do you vote?
Aye.
3-0 on number 3 for 9 Winnegon. Number 4, location of 12 Jungfrau. There's a question from a prospective buyer about this water access. We have a card for number 12 is incorrect, as 12 is a vacant lot and has always been, but the card shows a valve in a home. Apparently, this customer won the former connection lottery in 2004 and believes a valve was installed, but the house was never connected. We need to investigate the location for the potential valve and figure out what property number 12 is.
So they have a card for a house. And he's saying that the card is incorrect because 12 is a vacant lot. It's not a house.
Is this like a fishing expedition to find out if there's an actual
Apparently.
cutoff valve that would service a house should one get built on the lot?
Did they contact him directly?
I have no idea.
There was only one vacant lot that we were billing as a water
Water?
user forever, and it was not on Jungfrau. It was the Baraki.
Mm-hmm.
So Bristenstock, I think, is where that, and it's changed hands and stuff, but there was a curb stop on that, and it was a water user, because if there's a curb stop there, water is available to the lot regardless of whether or not there's a house, and it would, but this one was not ever listed out as a existed curb stop
So
without a house.
I have a question then. On number 1, 2, and 3, which we approved, that sounds like issues that were noted by the water operator. There wasn't any homeowner that was complaining. But number 4 sounds like a lot owner. Shouldn't this have gone directly through the office first?
This is where I'm backing up to, is that if Jennifer doesn't know how this initiated, we'd be approving someone that we don't know contacting the water operator
Right.
directly
Yeah,
to
and
go
that's-
on an
that's not okay.
exploratory digging and,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
no,
we need to be in the middle of that first.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we need to investigate this ourselves first.
Well, why don't we just disprove that?
Well, I don't
that
even know
one?
the name, we don't have any contact
He
information for the
doesn't,
owner.
he never gives
So,
information,
we're
I
not
have to inquire.
I'd say we're not approving this right now.
Right, no.
Now, it may inconvenience him because he might be mobilizing equipment but we can't. I don't,
yeah, we can't authorize it without the information, so we'll pull some additional information and then start looking at it.
is that good enough for your record?
Well, I'm gonna ask him to provide additional information.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
more
We need to find out
specifics of
where did
this
this complaint come
and
from?
where did it came from.
Yeah.
Right,
Well, what do our records show? Is this the person that owns number 12 Jungfrau?
that's a question, that's gonna have to
ask
get
the
looked
water
at.
operator who owns number 12 Jungfrau.
I'd like to know who we talked to. Prospective buyer, did you talk to the prospective buyer, or was it the current owner contacting you? Because he is a prospective buyer. See what I
This is
mean?
even worse.
Yeah,
Right,
Is that we're spending money with the water operator for a prospective buyer.
right,
right,
Yeah, no.
right.
No,
No.
okay, gotcha.
let the prospective buyer, tell him the prospective buyer has to contact the village
can give that
office
back
before
to
we're
him.
doing anything,
Exactly.
Yeah,
right?
yes,
Right. I mean, it's the same as,
We're not paying,
Right,
we're not
Right.
bothering Simply Water to be chasing this kind of stuff down for
okay,
us.
very good.
correct,
Right.
correct, and,
If,
Yeah.
the answer
I
is,
agree.
if the prospective buyer contacts Simply Water again, they're to direct them to us.
To us.
Very good.
That's it.
yep,
Okay, next is what? Was that C?
No, that was D.
E is a written description of the DPW employee for the purpose of posting ad.
Correct.
Let's talk about the ad.
Yep,
okay,
I saw how you made it sound like very enticing.
yeah,
yeah.
That was the
Yes.
idea.
Starting off with, yeah,
Yes, I'm
Yes.
saying that's fine.
yeah,
Worked for me.
yeah, I like it too.
And I did run a draft by Tony this morning at 6 o'clock through the internet, and Tony approves.
okay,
Tony approves.
He has a vested interest in this,
yes,
and
and,
he wants to be actively recruiting himself
Yes.
through
Yes.
his network.
yes, but Jeff also said that he saw it,
Yes.
and that,
It was timed so that they could be using their internet devices at the same time so they could compare notes on what they were looking at. They both are okay with it. So I'll make a motion that we run the ad as is.
And where are we running the
Second.
ad?
We,
Conway Daily Sun
Yeah.
and
Yep.
anywhere else?
so that begs the question about Indeed that we've been using recently.
I don't know if that's the place to find out.
Yeah, that was okay.
DPW,
I agree.
highway laborer,
I don't know much about Indeed.
Yeah, I
professionals.
I see ads
It
all the
is.
time in Conway Daily Sun for,
Yeah,
you know, like
and
these
you
type of
spent a good
positions.
amount of money on, yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
you're worth it.
And was
Well, I
it,
didn't go through Indeed.
yeah, was it the ad in the paper? Or the,
It was the ad in the
Okay.
paper.
and I believe Caitlin said the same thing.
Yeah,
Okay, so just the ad in the paper.
great,
And our own internet
okay,
channels.
which is Facebook.
Yep. I guess we could put it on our webpage too, but just let's just get this ad in the paper.
Okay,
So
great.
the motion is
Alright.
for the ad in the paper, did that get a second?
No.
Second.
not yet.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0.
Okay. Just to bring up, if I start getting phone calls in the office for the position, and they ask about salary
Yep,
and other details.
good question. So, one of the things that we could decide now is that Jennifer makes an appointment for them to talk to Jeff.
Okay,
Okay.
It has been practiced in previous years that the first round is with the DPW foreman. When the DPW foreman has candidates that he has interest in, then the board meets with them.
okay,
But the board isn't talking to people that the foreman may not want
Mhm.
to be in his crew, so. So I'd say anybody that contacts you through email
Yep.
and the telephone number
right,
is that, you work out with Jeff how you want them to contact him and make an appointment for him
Very good.
to interview them first.
Yeah.
And he can answer all the questions he
Okay.
has the answers to.
what about salary?
Same thing.
Okay?
Jeff will tell him what it is.
Alrighty,
Which I think is a range, we discussed that.
Yes.
Yep.
We ordered on it already.
Right, okay.
Now-
okay, I still haven't gotten anything about the credit card. And you were, last meeting, you were gonna, Try to-
Okay.
okay? And then I'm bringing up Norton again because next week is when it expires. Okay,
When it expired.
alright,
Because I'm still not a fan.
So what are we using? Is it Microsoft Defender?
Defender, yeah.
okay.
There's nothing under, at
Little business table.
1027, there's no old business, no table items, any signature items?
There's, no,
1027 began commissioners reports. I talked about hot well to burn. I'd like to bring up an idea that we open up an account. I'll make a motion that we open up a bank account at Northway with the intention of migrating our operating checkbook from the current bank of New Hampshire to Northway.
So all business will be done,
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we open up a bank account in Northway and
a checking
a
account?
checking account. And that we move a certain amount of money to it, just to establish the account.
so for future. Okay,
And, okay,
So let's see. So I made a motion that we open up a bank account at Northway and that we move, $40,000 into it,
out of what account?
out of the Bank of New Hampshire account.
The operating account?
Yep.
and is this just for the moment gonna be a holding account?
Second.
Second for discussion, okay. So the idea is that it gives us the flexibility. We will have two checking accounts. We will declare when we start writing checks out of the Northway account. And basically, my feeling is that I don't have a good feeling about the Bank of New Hampshire
Because of our,
because of our experiences in their response to it and the fact that we don't even borrow the TAN note. The way that Northway handles our TAN note was much better than the way that the Bank of New Hampshire. I have a couple of reasons to want to move to Northway. And I think that this system gives us the flexibility of continuing to run paychecks out of the Bank of New Hampshire because we're set up that way that we can do it when things are easier for us to get into the details of that. We have still too many things on our plates to be making this, to change the paycheck system over again and upset that and other things that we they
Right.
couldn't even anticipate